Welcome back to Chats with Jack. I am Jack Talcott. And greetings, blessings, salutations, and love. Once again, welcome back to Vertical Chats with Jack. Happy Monday to you all. Brothers and sisters, I am who I am, and today, it's no lie. What is my purpose for doing this vertical stream? I really don't enjoy it. I don't like it. I'm not a fan of it, even viewing it. But admittedly, today, the topic, learn and grow. I'm filled with love. Once again, it's in the background of me. And today, brothers and sisters, you can't see the thumbnail anymore, but the thumbnail Monday, success is to wake up each morning and consciously decide that today will be the best day of your life. I gotta admit, hey, I'm grateful to see some of the names here in the chat. The Machine Lies, several others. For those who were here, who have been a part of this Talcottian journey, man, I gotta admit, I was not happy with me yesterday. The way the live stream went, man, I was just frustrated at me, and I took my emotion showed, and I repeated a pattern that a mistake I've made a number of times in the past. I raised my voice and insulted people who I care about. So if you were one of those yesterday, thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your understanding. Because truly, what I've been learning in my life, I hope to share. I want to share what I've been feeling, what I've been learning. This love, man, it's a mystery. It's a confusion. Life can be confusing, but God has blessed me. And sometimes I lose sight of what I've already received in frustration, right? It's really easy for us to do that in life. So the message, and it's in the description of the video, the value of a positive mindset cannot be measured or limited by circumstances. You can't measure the value of a positive mindset, and you sure can't limit a positive mindset. You know, situations may change, circumstances may arise, but a positive mindset can get you through the storm. Success and failure, what are those? Those are choices. You're going to choose to succeed, and you'll put forth the effort until you do, or you'll choose to maybe try. And then if you don't even try, you're choosing to fail. So success and failure, man, they're ideas that people both seek after and they fear. I used to fear failure. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Hey, that's the secret to love, by the way. Don't lie. Never lie again. The world doesn't need more liars. The world is yearning for more understanding, more compassion, more unity, more love. Hey, and look at that. When Jack gets out of the way, love is there. I bet that works for you too. When you get out of your way, I bet love is there. What I've been training myself to do is to consciously, intentionally surrender to where I am, to what has happened, surrender to the presence of now. And in the presence of now, invite in the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of Christ, to walk with me. And when you go through that, I forget sometimes, often. I'm forgetting less often, though. That part is true. I'm not as easily frustrated and moved as I have been, but here, let's address the reality. Yes, it's vertical. Welcome back, flow state. You're one of those too. I've I've made my mistakes in the realms of communication. I've made a number of mistakes, but I'm learning and growing. Okay. And so today, the change in direction to the vertical, I know there's results. I mean, there's something to the way the format is designed, and it makes sense from the promoters, from the host, YouTube. It makes sense why they would do this in order to compete with the other social media formats and companies. But I don't enjoy the vertical stream. But my spirit is calling me to try and reach greater numbers, to become a greater influence in this world at this time. My heart is calling me to do that. And then, I'm having this conversation with myself earlier because I want to be honest. Is that Jack? Is that Jack's ego? Well, I can't say that it's not, because the ideas are processed through my ego, my consciousness. And there is a desire for me to be used like that by God. Wouldn't that be freaking cool, man? Seriously, I've given these ideas so much thought. And so, yes, hey, blessings, Arpol, blessings to you. And I know you already know. I'm going to invite you in the chat here because you know how I am. Sometimes I don't really pay close attention to what is going on right in front of me in the chat. So please do your part, our part, and welcome people as they may show up, because if in fact we do grow, I hopefully remind and invite people to subscribe and join. Not like the paid membership or stuff, but join this adventure of life with me, right? With the belief. Well, yeah, I don't know how exactly to explain it. The belief that greater things are coming, right? That there's greater things in store for you in your life. If it's true for me, it's got to be true for you. That's how the truth works, right? And yesterday in the conversations, I got faced some confusion and doubts and labels and disbelief again. And the topic was about the truth. Well, the truth is a mystery. There is a process within each of us regarding steps uh, for how we learn, how we go from hearing of something. Oh, there's something that exists in this way. There's a thing that exists, and then we learn a little bit more detail, and then we think we know it. But there's a difference between knowing of in the mind and then embodying what you know. What I claim to know these days is love, very intimately. it's it's like it's not a thing, it's just a state, it's a way. In a state and a way of love, there is a wholeness. There is no darkness, there is no problem, there is no misery, there only is. And this is what I've been learning for myself, is following the way is no joke. The way of love, the way of light, it is all offered by the grace of God. And so in my own mind, my own ideas, I started wondering, what if if God was with us, for us, if God's love was for the world to know, And the only thing that prevented it was fear, which it is, right? We've got these real life wars going on, absolute atrocities happening in Palestine, and the US is involving itself more given the go ahead in Ukraine and Russia. And so the war drums are beating all around the world. The numbers of poverty and impoverished continue to grow. I heard a statistic recently, 375 million. That fills a lot of stadiums. 375 million people were facing food insecurity, according to some data. Now, who knows? Who knows what the numbers are real? But what is real in my life, what I found, is God's love is real. God's love is found through the truth. And if you consider that, it is through the truth, the gift of knowledge, the gift of wisdom, life lessons. Those things transform us. Those are truly the power. So earlier today, I spent time in the heavenly realms. Man, I spent time just far away with thoughts, considerations on God, God's perfection, God's glory, God's power. It's undeniable. And yet, it hides itself so beautifully, so perfectly. What I've learned for myself yesterday, the question kept asked, what is the truth? How do you know the truth? Well, the truth is God. And it's through love that we get to know anything, right? The heavenly realms is really in our minds. Through our minds, we can connect to God. God brings forth the answers. God brings forth the solutions. The only way to get beyond the ego, though, is to truly open your heart, inviting in like the love, the willingness to die for others, right? That's what Jesus showed. And all of us have within us. We've all got that spirit of goodness. It's available. But the world has conditioned us, right, to believe in such nonsense, to believe that evil has a place, that we need to be afraid of evil, that we need to be afraid of temptations. No, we need to overcome temptations. We're here to overcome evil. We're here to bring to justice, right? What's truly capable in mankind. With that, there's those who get me, and then there's those who don't. I can't take this man serious. Don't then, but at least try to consider what I'm saying. So as I understand the link in this vertical stream, it may not always work. I don't always do the vertical stream, or yeah, there's tricks to it. But the topic today of learn and grow, hello, that's how simple life can be. This is what I've realized. God is simple, life is simple, love is simple. There's everything is simple when you allow your chaotic mind, you allow it to be. Life doesn't have to be so complicated. What makes things complicated is in life, it's simple, it's obvious. Collectively, here in America and around the world, the nations have allowed selfish liars to be enabled with power. And the power is the combined belief. Everyone wants to believe in the money system. And it's been known for a long time, through a little bit of layoffs and manipulating of the currency. You can hire half the working class to kill the working class. It's happening. It's happening right now. The working class fire, the working class goes off to wars. The working class builds the bridges, builds the hospitals, builds the schools. It's the working class who have built the world. Now, the downside is under the systems that have emerged, it's built to protect selfish liars. Because I've wondered, how do these true mega wealth people, how do they sleep at night knowing the vast poverty that's out there around them? How do they sleep at night knowing that they've been exploiting their workers, exploiting their suppliers? um, hey, working class guru, I'm pro labor, anti work. We don't have to work so hard. They brainwashed us. The world has brainwashed people into believing, oh, you got to fight for everything. If you don't fight, you don't get. And then you got to work hard. Okay, those are like partial truths. Because the way to win any battle, the way to solve any problem, in my personal experience, take it for what it is. I could be wrong. Try it out. See for yourself. But the way I found to find peace in my heart is to go to God. Go to God with the answers. I'm a dumb child, man. I'm by the way, for those, yeah, for those who join in, I'm new at the live streaming thing. So, it's cut me some slack. We're all trying to figure this thing out. Life. And life doesn't have to be so complicated when we're honest. When we're honest and humble and kind, in theory, you don't create as many enemies. But holy cows, man, for those who've been around the Talcottian adventure, you've seen like the battles and enemies emerge. They come out of nowhere. They come in these pretty shapes and all their kindness. I hope I make sense to others because I think I'm fucking hilarious, to be honest. I really do. Um, here, I don't, I'm in a great state of mind. Am I monetized? I think I am, but I don't ever monetize the live stream because apparently people were getting commercials. So I don't like commercials myself. And I'd rather connect with people and have people enjoy what I'm sharing. Because if I'm not doing any good, then what's the point? The world has enough people just entertaining each other. I hope to be entertaining, but inspiring for the most part, um, because I do practice what I preach. You know, I recommend to others the ideas of self-development, uh, inner work, become doing the shadow work within to become the more whole and balanced, enlightened being. The path to enlightenment is for all of us, and we are all in this path of enlightenment. What does that mean? Back to the idea of the heavens being of the mind. In the mind, it's not interrupted by the form. And it's only when you bring the worldly selfishness, oh, poor me, I can't figure this out. Only when we bring those ideas into the heaven do they exist. In the heavenly realm, in the realm of mind, it's through the light of God that we see. Consider this in your mind, if you can find a way for it to make sense to you. In our mind is the heavenly realms, and it is through the light of God, through God's grace, the light will be shine upon the answers in our mind, the solutions, the blessings that we seek. The mind is, your mind is more powerful than you've been taught, particularly if you've been labeled with something or you found a label for yourself. These labels, these self identities, I'm a Christian, I'm an American, and then all the other stuff too, right? Those labels are actually from the world. What is not from the world, oh, it's heavenly. Where I'm at in this present moment, when my mind is still, I am consciously in my mind, in my experience, I am one with heaven. I have no worries. I have no battles. I have no pain, no suffering, no lack. I need nothing in a state of wholeness. And that's the way the sun is. That's the way the world is. That's the way you and I can become. We can become whole in our beingness, seeking nothing, but wanting to give everything. Because that's our purpose of being, is to give, not to earn, not to fight, not to collect. I mean, if you're going to collect things while you're here, collect amazing memories. Collect memories of yourself blessing someone else, right? Becoming a miracle in someone's life, bringing the right answer, sharing the right connection, the right resources. We all have this opportunity every day to be creative with our life and to be creative with what we think. But here's what I've learned. It's simple. It's obvious. As long as you're dragging around memories, as long as you're focused on things from the past, you are preventing the light of your mind from bringing forth what is new. And to me, there's not a doubt in my mind that there is God. There's not a doubt in my mind that love is the way to know God, right? And it just makes sense. What would be the state of your being if you were in heaven? Dude, you'd be like, oh, it's so good. It's so good, God. Oh, praise God. Oh, it's glorious. That's how you would be. You ever tried massage? I mean, you ever had like just that perfect bite of combination flavor and texture? I mean, there's heavenly experiences all around. Every chance you look, you can find a heavenly experience. And then guess what's better? You get to share that shit. You get to share the good stuff you find in life with others. Or you can be resentful. You can share around all the problems, all the bitterness, all the things to complain about. Oh, that's so much fun. I used to have a lot of fun sharing my complaints. Oh, it just passed the time, and everyone was so willing to sit around and talk about the complaints, but I freaking love you guys, especially the ones who hate me. I truly, truly love you all. The ones who love me, you get it. You get it. And admittedly, again, for those who have found their way to me, I'm working on the rough edges. Okay. I shared this elsewhere. God has been testing me. Life is God. How about that? You want to know what God is? Life. Well, it's the awareness of life. It's more than just life itself. God is so much. We can be so much. We, at this time here on earth, there's a calling, right? All of the signs, people share videos and stuff, and some of the signs I've seen in social media. There's plans for technology, and there's prophecy of people implementing these plans of technology and further oppression, further deception of mankind, right? Bringing more oppression and hell to the world. Okay. Didn't God give us like free will to choose stuff, like to choose a better outcome? And I think if we learn lessons, somewhat. Ah, see, this is a memory. God has blessed me. Patterns in life, they keep repeating. I'm not bragging, but I have had the opportunity to learn to learn how I learn. I learned how, maybe that was it. Maybe when I was young, I learned how I learned. So I can learn things pretty quickly. I understand things without a lot of details. Um, and I'm not always right, but I know that I learn quickly. And I've shared this story before, but hey, I'm hoping to invite others. And if you're new, please remember to subscribe to Jack Talcott, man. But I remember in high school, I think it was in algebra class or calculus. I was very good at math, very gifted. And the they were grading on a curve, if I remember, and I kind of threw the curve. I remember taking a test there in class and finishing it up just real quick. It was pretty simple. And I'm looking around and people seemed to be struggling. And I was looking at things and kind of paying attention. What was I experiencing? What was different? And then I realized, I tried telling others, I said, hey, I think he's teaching you the hard way to do it. There's an easier way to do this. And people didn't believe me. They're like, shut up, Jack. You don't know what you're talking about. The teacher knew. I think he knew. Um, I don't know. Praise God. Life is funny. Life is amazing. We are here each day to learn and to grow. It's real easy in this life to deceive ourselves, to convince ourselves we're actually doing better than we are. That's speaking from the experience of a functioning alcoholic. Yeah, I didn't kill anybody when I was driving. I didn't hurt anyone. I was able to keep a job. So, what was the problem of my disease? Brothers and sisters, if it's time, it is time. The prophecies are clear. That was the idea, right? We are experiencing a time of history. You can take it for what it is. It's always this time of history where it's quite unique and kind of important for us to awaken, right? To become enlightened. Stop allowing the darkness and despair to limit the mind, and a limited mind will limit our experience. And if we tell ourselves that unacceptable is good enough, well, what I realized for myself is a life lesson I hope to share. Each of us are responsible for raising our own standards of ourselves, right? There's a lot of people who focus on they should do better, you should do better. And maybe I'm guilty of that myself. I mean, here I am, I'm trying to start a new path as a life coach or motivational speaker. So I am doing the vertical stream, hoping to catch more people, become a greater influence. It is my prayer that God may allow me. See, It's not my will that will be done anymore. It certainly is. It's all by the grace of God. Now, I know where love leads me. For those who might be new, I served the military voluntarily a couple of times as a kid. And today I'm amongst the other men and women, veterans, who have said, no, it's time to expose the evil. It's time to expose the corruption. There is no, personally, I cannot accept any excuse for these wars to continue to be funded and promoted, not just by the men and women in politics, but being promoted by the men and women in the news. There's real journalists being hunted in some of these areas where the wars are in Israel, and as I understand, even in Mexico and maybe Haiti, the men and women who are brave enough in this age of technology, right? They're trying to share the news real time. There's crises in the world happening right now. We're not helpless. We're only helpless if we choose. We're only helpless if we choose failure. If we choose failure, yep, not a thing can be done. Guess those people are just going to have to suffer. I guess it's just in someone else's hands. There's nothing we can do about it, says 8 billion people. Hello. I'm making a mockery, but I'm clearly wrong. There's a lot of men and women alive today. They're doing the work of God. They're bringing to light some of the criminals. They're hunting down some of the criminals. They're bringing the darkness into the light. My hope is to become a part of that. Part of it is discussing it, but most importantly, what I'm hoping to do, let's brainstorm ideas. What can we do? I know the world becomes safer as a veteran, right? It's just, I had an inside view, so please trust, but it's simple, it's obvious. You don't have to be in the military to know that what's going on is wrong. Matter of fact, it's probably more obvious to those who don't go in the military that, hey, something's wrong here. Evil rises in lands where good men and women do nothing. What are we going to do? My hope is to have conversations with the men and women serving America in Washington, D.C. Excuse me, men and women of Congress. I'd like to remind them of their duties to legislate and bring forth a land of peace, prosperity, which is what all the peoples around the world have a right to. We all have a right to peace and prosperity. Tommy, I don't believe you're here to support me, so I'm probably not going to bring you up again. Okay? I'll try. Tommy, welcome, brother.
What was that background you just flashed? Why do you think it's funny?
You'll see it at the end.
No, I'm not going to watch till the end. I had to Hanko flame this fucking link. But you say you're probably not going to bring me up. I hate to sound like your daddy. I hear you're bringing me up every show, like listing me off with your daddy. And then I go check it, and you do. So what's your issue? You want support? You want to lead? Or both?
Yeah, that'd be great.
It's an idiosyncrasy.
Well, Tommy, here.
Restance.
Here in the present.
Here.
Right? Here and now.
Now.
You and I are not enemies.
We are.
I actually see us both as brothers in Christ.
No, that's why we're enemies. You are not that.
What if you're wrong?
But I'm not, so I'll go with it. What if
So,
every time I show you you're wrong, you boot me halfway? What if you
well,
keep showing up in my chat like we're friends while you boot me for showing you're wrong?
what if you're in denial?
Oh, you're referencing our whole.
No.
That dude's the fakest motherfucker out here, and I'm gonna show you
Hey,
in the
hello,
future.
hello, Tom.
Hello! That's it. That's
All right,
rude, Jack.
you're being rude.
Hello! Here. I'm gonna show you in the future what our poll used to say.
I'm going to let you continue your way, Tommy. Okay. We're here to learn and grow. The best way to learn and grow is together. I don't deny that. However, Tommy, you've been making it truly unbearable. It's okay. So here, I'm going to speak to the audience, and I know I got some new folks here, but I presume there's new folks tuning in. And for those of you who are new, I encourage you, don't let my slow tempo dissuade you. Worst case, now that you found this, go back and listen again, speed it up. I honestly, I have a tough time sitting through my slow cadence. It's like, God, Jack. So I know that who I am and how I communicate, I know it sometimes frustrates people. But here's something I realized: there's no denying the fact that I have seemed to attract some very prideful, almost hostile characters. I mean, it's exactly the lesson I learned brought myself healing. Now, I realize for me to attract these type of characters that want to, diminish me, there's got to be a reason. There's something within me as well. And I realized I can come across as kind of a know-it-all. I mean, hell, I'm just remembering in this stream, I was just telling a story about how smart I thought I was. So if you can understand this, um, here, Aaron Day, just trying to figure out what I'm trying to communicate. The discussion, what is the discussion about? My discussion is typically centered on a few topics. Love, the topic today, the title of the stream, learn and grow. Realizing how we can learn in life, the best way to, I guess I didn't really get into these topics. I appreciate you asking. Generally, the topic and what I hope to share is love. I have such a love of God, and it is and is not religious. Okay, it's not so much any religion that I place above one or another, but my love for God, it's who I am. And I hope to share the love that I feel, the love of life, the love of learning, the love of growing, the ability, the excitement that life and learning and growing can bring. That's what I hope to share. And truly, the other topic of what the discussions are about, my eyes have been open clearly to how corrupt the political economic state of the world is. So I'm hoping, thus trying to reach greater numbers, I'm hoping to find connections, find people who might resonate with these ideas, finding a way, get before the leaders of America, and we agree we're going to end wars and we're going to bring reforms. Because when secrets are no longer legal, selfish liars will no longer be rewarded. It's kind of simple, kind of obvious. I'm pretty sure God didn't create the universe and all of Mother Earth and us, all of history. I'm sure God didn't intend for us to all become selfish liars. However, I guess, well, we got to accept what's really there. And the world we live in is truly confused. It's time for conscious men and women to align together. Because when conscious men and women can align together with a heart that understands, and we combined minds for the same, to brainstorm ideas. If conscious men and women will unite together, we can create the space and opportunity for greater leadership to arise. That's what I see is lacking. Here's another wild card. But welcome back, Paul. How are you today?
Greetings, Mr. Talcott. How are you?
You gonna start with insults?
Not what they call you. It's what you answer to, Jack. I learned that long ago.
Yeah, you're right. I suppose. I really don't care what people call me, what they think of me. I do care about how people treat me, though. But the past brought us to today. And it's the future, right? The future is where life is lived, where life is at. So how are you, brother?
I'm blessed, Jack. You know, another day. We get to choose, get to work on whatever the actualization of self looks like and feels like, and move toward the transition of death. Right? The sweet release at some point. Only to do it all over again, some might say.
I've heard that a lifetime is like a maybe it's a day trip for the spirit. You know, we're just I don't know. There's what I do know is what you said regarding the discovering the self-actualization, what's coming forth. It requires us to pay attention because each day may seem the same. And it's really easy to get hypnotized by familiarity. But things are always changing, and I know that.
Are things always changing, or are we always changing? And so it appears from our perspective that things are always changing.
It's both. As we change, things change. As things change, we change.
Okay, I'll accept that. There's nothing I like better than a Talcottian if-then statement.
Well, that's what I found. That's what this world is. It's duality. So it's yes and. It's if this, then that. It's all cause and effect. And that's what that was the idea I had earlier. We're like, we are the space within ourselves. In ourselves is the space where memories and new ideas can be contained. But
so you're saying like I'm like the condom and you're the lube.
There's some sort of relationship there. Yeah, I was just anyway. Hey, no, the idea was we're just like new ideas and old memories. That's what we are. We're all going to fade away. Just like memories. The key, though, what I've learned is this world profits from people living in memories. Well, they live in memories and imagination, playing that stupid game of of hierarchy.
Wait, isn't that what we were doing?
Sometimes.
It's a lot better when we do it, I gotta say. We have a way with that, huh?
We do. Hey, Tom, Tom, please forgive me.
Paul. Oh, same thing. I get it.
Well,
Loud,
name,
obnoxious, abrasive, rude at times.
and I was considering we have this opportunity for all three of us to be together again. You want to venture with Tom, see how it goes? Can we be patient and kind?
Jack, that's all I've been doing. I mean, have you seen what I'm dealing with the last 3 to 5 years?
Neither of you decide anything for me, Jack. You'll be in my chat when I go in on you later. Paul, we could have smoked this dude, but we don't cook like that no more. Faggot.
I don't know what that means. Pretty much you just ran because you're unable to occupy the same space as I am without getting into a jealous, envious, projecting rage. So that's a you issue, not me. It's also not a Jack issue. Jack has Jack issues. Paul has Paul issues. Tom has Tom issues.
I know. And when we can get past the issues, we're all fun to be around. But holy cows, I think all three of us might be guilty of making it tough for people to be around.
Yeah, he just has to stop pretending that he only has one modality, right? Like stop pretending there isn't a heart in there somewhere, that he's not, while saying that I and everyone else is a narcissist. He's going to go with the hammer and nail every time, regardless of whether it works or not. So it's like, okay, Tom, if you want to do hammer and nail 24/7, 365, it hasn't worked for you yet, but I'm like entertained by your failure, as there are so many others, about 15 to 20 people nightly when you go live.
The frustrating part I have is he's an example. There we go. He is an example, like many others, using religion as his excuse to be the hammer.
But it doesn't make any sense because God is clearly absent from his life and his results. So, at some point, again, we all got to check in because there's levels to everything. I don't have to claim perfection by any means to say there's levels to results. If you're claiming godliness, holiness, righteousness, we would think there would be some story to tell there, some kind of result, if not underway, right? I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing a confused, I'll take Mr. Talcott, a confused, chaotic man who's living in delusion and is disconnected from his highest self and therefore every other self around him, to paraphrase there.
Brother, it's common. There's a lot of people living that way.
But then we got to ask, how much are we doing that? That's the scary part. When we turn the Tommy / Talcottian / Unslavian mirror and say, how much are we all individually potentially doing that?
That's what I was asking too. Matter of fact, it may have been right before you joined. I was kind of observing that. I have to admit, I've certainly attracted a bunch of know-it-alls who want to show me wrong. So what is it in me? I guess I am doing that. But I don't mean to come across as a know-it-all. I just happen to know a lot of shit.
Well, there you have it.
And here's the thing. I don't know, Paul. I know there's similarities between us. I know that there's lessons. I've been learning lessons about myself and through you. And actually, you were another one I wanted to recognize. The last time you were here, I was still carrying some more BS in me. But I'm still trying to find a way.
Okay, you just got to hold to that center that you're not a complete picture. You could know it all and then some. It's about the results. And once you're, as you're moving in this life toward whatever the result is, and you start getting more of those results, I think you're going to be a bit more secure in what it is you claim to know because it's backed by what you're doing and the result you've gotten, right? That's I'm not any different than you. This is what drove Talcott clip collection over the brink, is the realization that I've had to posit that we are all one self on the highest level. On the lowest level, there's a gap in communication, understanding, perspective, application, and result. So, we can't deny that, right? There's no denial in this.
Agreed. But here's one part in this though is my results are based largely on past misunderstandings. And you recognized earlier the results, it may be a period of transition. And that's where I am. I'm clearly in a period of transition. And along with the results, it's only going to take one to begin with. Once one is there, then it opens up more and more and more opportunities.
Right,
Whether
but the
that's
thing
one
is
coach, one client, one friend, one family.
but that's you, Jack. Right, at the
Right.
risk of doing the pun intended, like the Talcottian, that's you. It's like I'm the one for me that then gives birth to two, that gives birth to three.
Right.
When we stop seeing it that way, we cut
I know.
ourselves off from that process. You know that.
Oh, yes. And here again, yes, you could be the one. You could be the one that helps me break this pattern.
No, I'm
Because you
saying
think
I'm the one for me. I'm Paul's best friend when I was
know.
Paul's worst enemy. Right.
I'm
The same thing
accepting
for Jack.
Paul, I'm accepting my responsibility. Yes. And that's what I'm saying. But here's the point. Should I be in a different state, where I know I'm more secure in finances, maybe my son is back, or maybe I actually have a relationship, like an intimate relationship. Holy shit. Can you imagine how joyful I might be then? I mean, I'm already pretty happy, pretty easygoing. And despite all the results, I think I'm doing pretty fucking good.
Well, yeah,
So,
I can't make a judgment on really even myself, let alone anyone else, because that's like, again, down to God and the result. But it's, yeah, man. I mean, if you're okay with you and what you're doing and moving forward, then that's all you know what I'm saying? That's the arbiter is you, and your path, your past, your present, your future. And what percentage or level of results, right? No one can tell anybody else that they're not shit because they didn't get results on someone else's timeline, or whatever the results are that they dictated. So I just believe that if you focus on you and being the best version of you and showing up for yourself and others here and allowing these other people who are acting like your children, we're back to the daddy thing, right? You don't really need Dominic's your biological child, but you got so many online children here. We may be one of them individually, right? The broken child within us needs some kind of guidance, discipline, healing, understanding, application, results. So that's why I was just saying that we're number one. They think that I come on these broadcasts, especially when I do my own, to tell everyone I'm better than them. I'm telling me in the mirror that I need to do better. And I'm then projecting it onto every other self because I just presume there's oneness there. I
know. I want to encourage you to be kinder to yourself. It's easier to lead us through dark times and challenging choices when we know that we're not just doing it through discipline, but out of desire and true love. There's many ways to achieve success and to achieve our goals. The number one thing is to have clarity, though. And that's what I've been learning. Paul, sincerely, everything you said is, yep.
Well, that's our dynamic, right? Our dynamic, if we were to take, not to say that the Paul Enslaved off screen hasn't almost taken on the characteristics of the on screen, because it's hard to find the line oftentimes day to day, but that's been the thematic, right? Is that, Jack, I'm saying you could use a little bit more clarity and discernment in certain things. And you're basically saying I could use a little bit more kindness, whether it's to myself and then it extends outward or vice versa. And I could see that. I could see that there's a time and a place for every aspect of self, and then there's a time to kind of shift, right? And we remember who we are and who we've been and who we can be. So I've seen that organically, in myself, that like to get certain things done and to move ahead, I may need to have to go into a certain mode, right? Doesn't mean I have to, but I choose to for whatever, to get it done, because maybe I don't feel I can in any other way. Then when that tool is done, I put it down and I can go back to how I came into this, right? The first video, ironically enough, when we reflect, I was pretty loving. I was pretty caring. I was pretty patient and kind and forgiving and understanding. And that kind of went to the wayside when we went to the war of the live paneling, right? And everything that comes with it. So not an excuse, just an experience.
Yeah. It's lessons. We're all learning lessons. I know that. I was reminded of a quote earlier. I can't remember who, but when staring off in the abyss, it's important to make sure that it doesn't become you, or you don't become the abyss. As we're exploring the the criminality of the world and start seeing and experiencing more of the injustices that this society enables, it can frustrate us and get us pissed off.
Well, even that saying, Jack, is fascinating because it is cliche and there's some truth to it. But when we kind of readjust the language, it's revealed, or through the experience, it's revealed that you stare into the abyss and realize you've been the abyss all along. It's not become the abyss. It's, from all things come, all things go, right? And the abyss is essentially just the dark, empty platform of creation, right? Like the universe, the womb. It's the dark, empty basis that all things spring from, right? But obviously, if we stay in a dark, empty space and don't gestate and evolve and grow, right, in order to move beyond, well, then in a way we die in the womb, right? We've never really been born and never really lived, metaphorically, right?
This is because the people have spoken. I wouldn't have came back up here for you to.
Tommy, please, your power games are not working. We see right. I see right through you. You're not. Yeah. It's not a projection. I'm saying you want to be here. You want to be part of the conversation, whether about truth, about my narcissism, Jack's narcissism, your narcissism.
I do that on my channel.
I know, but nobody's watching there. So that's why you go everywhere else and you pretend. No, it's not a projection. I did 60,000 views the other day. Someone was watching.
Here, let's see. Why are you here, Tom?
Because whenever I left, your chat was like, Tom, come back, and I'm the Vince McMahon of this channel.
So you do everything the chat tells you to do, huh? That's who has power and control.
I am the voice of the people. I am the channel where resolutions
You've made
are found.
yourself the voice of the people because you have no voice for Tom in your own life and no purpose.
I do have a voice. It got
you made yourself a voice for the people. The people didn't decide that. There's no more than 15 people on your channel who don't even want you to speak for them in their insanity.
Damn it, Tom. Why? He
is, ironically enough, we thought, this is so fascinating. They thought Paul Unslaved was the best we could do with egotism, pride, and narcissism. Then Jack stepped up and took a crack at it. And now we got Tommy, who's vying he's running away with it because he can't even control and comport himself for 10 fucking minutes to talk objective truth out of his feelers and his false projections. So all the things now, like we just spoke about, he's claimed about myself and claimed about you. He's now embodying Mr. Void. That's his new name, Mr. Void.
Well, this is what our egos do. We project all sorts of crap. We'll vomit out everything onto everyone else. And my theory is on many of these YouTube creators, and okay, Jack's included in this.
I love when you talk about yourself in the third person. It's so humble and meek of you.
No, I'm included in this. There's many of us here. Why would an ego, right? When there's unresolved trauma, unreconciled issues within us, right? People get all juvenile and they're emotionally stunted. They act out all these friggin' games. Shit, now I lost my point. Where was I going?
Just bring him back in. You'll remember. That's all you got to do. If you lost your thread right there, just pop him back in. If he's back there, you'll pick right back up on it within 30 seconds.
Tom does bring it up. Oh, why would people here regarding us YouTube creators? Why would the ego go out and make us look foolish? I witnessed this in myself. I had an emotional outburst, and I was like, I looked back at myself in hindsight, and this was offline. I was like, what the fuck was that? um, what it is, it's our inner being wants us to look. And if we won't look at ourselves, we're going to go out and draw attention, and we'll get a lot of others telling us, hey, look at yourself, Tommy. Tommy, please look at yourself.
Or look at the fact that almost nobody wants to look at you. It's one thing if you, like me, I go, I'm gonna come online today and have an emotional outburst. Someone's at least watching and getting something from it. When you do
You
it and
mod
nobody's
dog
watching, it's
fucking
just
narcs
your
are
mental emotional
hilarious up
illness
here,
sort of
trading
displaying.
your little self-gratification. Jack, you're a joke.
That's
And
you,
Venus,
Tom.
Venus, you're a fucking lying cunt. You have an account on.
Dude.
He's worried about Venus, a non-player character, just in life in general, let alone on these panels. Just a non-issue. Issue for him now. Huge issue. Venus cupcake. For God, though, Jack. For God. God really wants Tom to fixate on Venus.
And right. Apparently, God sent Tom to go after you and me. And
to not do any revelations about the personality disorder or the dynamics. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, here's why I think, Paul. I know the work I've done inside. I know the healing, and I know how wrong I used to be. I think that's why we've joined together, because I've been saying this. We are the generation. You and your dad are a part of this too. We are the generation that's supposed to bring the healing. We're here to bring the healing, breaking the past patterns of poverty, of oppression, of abuse, of addiction. We are the solution this time.
Absolutely. The problem is that's going to take radical accountability and authenticity. And most folks, it seems, including Paulie Boy, most of his life, are too fucking cowardly to get it done.
It's scary until it's done. And then once it's done, you laugh at yourself. It's like, what the fuck? Why did I wait so long to change? Why did I wait so long to look? That's my experience with drinking, with all sorts of things. What I really learned in this life is Jack, the character I had become, he was my biggest problem. So you can't escape what you are, but you can start surrendering away what gets in the way. Anger has been my downfall. Tommy, Paul, I think you guys are a reflection of me, just like Wizard is. And
yeah,
we're all
I may need what you're talking about more, because in a way I could argue my anger has served me. And that's one of the most dangerous places to be, is when you got that flame inside of you that seems to be working for you, so much so you turn around and maybe the house is on fire and you go, it was working so well till it wasn't, you know? So
ooh, I'm glad you brought that up. That's actually a life lesson I heard from others again recently, is what works in the past may not be working today. It changes. Everything changes. And Paul, what you said, hell, as a union guy, I got paid to fucking yell at people. I loved my job. I got to yell at the bosses.
I can see why you excelled over there for a time. But see, that's the thing too, right? It causes us to refocus on what working really means, right? If I get money in numbers and people say I'm a legend and a hero, but I cause dis-ease for myself and I'm not as peaceful and powerful as I could be in different ways, is it really working? And who or what is it working for? Right? Because we got a dual jurisdiction here, apparently.
Those are wise questions. And that I think is the key to wisdom, is to looking at as many variables as you can, both positive and negative, about how things are working. Because Paul, I hope you feel good. I do. I hope you feel good. Because doing good, you deserve to feel good. And I do. I congratulate others on their successes, and I do. I hope everyone finds blessings. This is our lifetime to succeed. But I ain't done. I'm just getting started, man. And here's what I think. My faith is not in me as much as it is in God. That I'm prepared for whatever is going to come forth. And so now that I've been learning how to surrender away my bitterness, my worries, and I'm overcoming the patterns of getting angry, I can't imagine God making me spend the rest of my life alone. I imagine that this is just going to, I'll look back on the past few years as just this period in the desert where I was wandering alone. But Paul, if I'm right, wars are going to end and secrets will no longer be legal. We're going to overcome this costume party of authority and wealth, dividing everybody.
If I'm right, none of that's going to happen, but we're going to have a hell of a time living out the odd couple in human form. We're basically Oscar Madison and Felix Unger get thrown out of their wives' house and then are forced to live together as opposites, only to each other's dismay, but somehow create a bond through the experience. Wait, I think we already did that.
I know.
Damn it. I'm always one step behind. I always think I'm ahead.
Life is this crazy fairy tale that's being lived out. And yeah, dude, we are like this odd couple that there's an undeniable chemistry when you and I get along, but holy shit, there's so much chaos in between that.
Well, yeah, because there's going to come a point where we're going to default to a different aspect or sense of self, and someone's going to have to decide the other person has to go. That's usually you, to be fair.
I get bored easily.
Your false self really doesn't like my false self. It's really upset at it. I don't know why. I mean, look at everything it's created. Come on.
I know, but here, this is it. I've been practicing to look beyond, right? Because things look ugly in life, right? Things may look like, well, I faced eviction and all this other crap. So look beyond to see the potential. That's where the answers are found. Because I think that's what we're here to do. We're just here to make everything better.
All right, now bring Tommy the slave in and torture him by forcing him to admit, along with us, that we may have narcissistic qualities, all three of us. If nothing else, in the sense of we went through a hard upbringing and trauma, and we were forced to create a grandiose sense of self and reality in order to cope with what seemed to be a hopeless reality.
The thing that I get sick of with you actual fucktards is once you see you're about to take the hits, you want to bring me in and say, oh, we're the same. We're not.
He's doing it again. Look, he can't help himself but to not find common ground. It's like what he does.
Dude, that leftist veteran wrecked your fucking asshole and showed your mod God.
There's no wrecking. That's the thing you're not getting.
There is.
Like, I'm
and there's also a reckoning.
Join us here and now, please.
I'm right the fuck here after waiting in your backstage.
Yeah, but you're in a whole different conversation and experience. You're not actually able to talk about what's happening now.
No, you're not able to hear me because you get scared and start spurging
what was the old thing? Your inevitable homelessness, your lack of community and family,
your flow stating,
you having nobody and
your
nothing.
Flow stating.
What am I scared of?
What am I scared of?
Tom,
I don't know. You have to answer that.
You're scared of the things I say. It's why the last time you were on my panel,
You just asked a question. You just said, what are you scared of? You have to answer that question. All we know is you're constantly showing up everywhere with a defensive, attacking inability to find common ground because you have to put yourself above everyone in order to feel adequate while you're acting inferior to everyone you interact with. It's bizarre. That's coming from me, by the way. Head narcissist in charge. HNIC.
I think you were accurate. He wasn't listening though. This is what I recognize. The ego in this emotional pattern, he's become disagreeable. He's got these conclusions against you and I, period. No good, no light, no value. And so he doesn't want to hear anything. Dude, I've been facing that for quite a while in a whole bunch of different characters. This is what I mean, these know-it-alls. But Paul, I think there's something. It was something in the past. He became a character where he was independent and separated from everyone else. And now to feel better, he's, I don't know, trying to bring others like him down. It's self-sabotage.
Yeah, well, there's a fine line again between synchronicity and schizophrenia, as I've coined the phrase. And it's one thing to create a grandiose sense of self or to view yourself and the universe in a grandiose sense, if that's in alignment with how you're living and the results and the way other people experience you to some degree. So like, where's the fine line there between the schizophrenia and the synchronicity? Oftentimes the way you're received and the results that you have. The only thing that made Jesus from the scripture not an insane person like Tommy is that people saw some honorable redemption, right? Some miracle working in and around, some co-creative process and procedure that was above and beyond the self-indulgent. We're not getting that from you at all. Quite the opposite from what I see. Without your wants and needs and desires, you would have no position on these panels. There's nothing for you here to speak about and reveal other than what we already know about self, because we're all one self, while you project it onto everyone else and reject that you're part of the experience of oneself. You don't want to accept that you're just like me, you're just like Jack, you're just like so many of us on here in certain ways. You can't handle that oneself reality. So you got to divide yourself from everyone and put yourself above. And that leaves you alone and disenchanted every day. That's why you're so fucking angry.
That's the cause and effect, the problem and solution. They are one. And Paul, you're right. It's pushing people away. And it's common in the symptoms are common with the reactive nature of the ego. The way that the world has been conditioned is to believe that we're all separated. But the truth is, the only division from any of us, the only division in Israel between the Israelis and the Palestinians, it's thoughts, it's beliefs. These thoughts and beliefs can drive people insane. I am evidence in my past, just so it's clear. I was insane. Huh?
He just doesn't want to accept that, just like Snafu and so many, and I've done it. The difference is, I guess, if I have to point out a difference, is I'm aware when I'm doing it. I mean, that makes me almost worse because it's like, I'm aware of what I'm doing and I'm choosing to continue doing it when there's another way. Now, I do that for an interesting, entertaining, exciting experience for me and everyone else. Whether it's healthy or not, I guess, is a different conversation. He and others don't seem to be aware that without their perceived enemies that are not their enemies, they're actually a projection of self. They have little to no purpose, meaning, or value here. Like, what is Snafu going to do or talk about or be without the pedo pogos? What is Tommy going to do or talk about or be without Talcott and Paulie Boy? You need us, if anything, to substantiate your nothingness.
Yes, and we're all in this together. There's an aspect of all of us in each other. But I think, if anything, Tom will learn from our example. He may not appreciate what he sees yet, but he and Snafu, they've received compassion and patience. I'm done with that Snafu.
So, Jack, then you just admitted out of your own mouth, Paulie Boy Unslaved, the terrible, like Ivan the Terrible, is more loving, caring, compassionate, and patient than Mr. Love himself. We got to change that. We can't have that reputation flying around on these metaverses. Someone's likely to seize on that, including me later when I do my broadcast.
I realize the evidence I created when I chose to block him. I understand, but holy crap, dude.
But Jack, again, there's a fine line, right? And this is the tug of war between being available to supposedly work with or just converse or help, dare we say, versus going, okay, once again today you're not available to that, so I'm going to go back to whatever Jack Talcott's going to do and say for Jack Talcott. You know, that's where we all, you know, you saw me allow 6 to 8 hours at one point daily of just complete insanity, screaming, yelling, nonsense. That just proves that if you let them, they'll literally take over your house and home, put you in the backyard, and destroy everything just to create some false equalization leveling campaign to make themselves feel better, right? So at some point, you got to be selfish to be selfless. I've learned that.
Well, Paul, I don't know if you remember, I used to make fun of you about that.
I remember.
And here I've done the exact same thing, though, because you're right. It's like, I don't know. Hey, we're all learning and growing together. I do know that. Nothing that anyone has done online, even as far as Snafu, nothing is unforgivable. Now, can it be forgotten? I don't know. We'll see what the future brings.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be, right? Because we need to remember what ourselves and each other have done that has created our horrible results and dysfunction, so we don't allow it and put up with it or continue to replicate it. Right? So forgiveness is great. Forgetting is like we're Joe Biden at that point, you know, making deals with Zelensky again. Like it didn't just happen.
That's the thing. People want to ignore instead of learning. But like, what the fuck hey, I'm going to get started on the Biden-Trump thing again, and I don't want to do that. So that's evidence of the world's insanity. Hey, I'm feeling like maybe I should shut it down.
Is Tommy the slave still kicking around in back, or did he run off?
No, he's in the back, and I'm sure he's keeping track so that I have to suffer more than he does. That's what he was doing before. He was joining the link. No, and I tell him, Tom, I'm not bringing him up. And then he'd keep track of how long he was in the back. So
well, he's ironically weaponizing your guilt while claiming you're a narcissist. It's so fascinating, right? This is what he did to me for a year and a half. Goes, you're a narcissist. I go, if I was a real narcissist, you wouldn't be able to weaponize my own care for you and my guilt to allow you to have a platform to speak, which is all this is. I say you go the other way with it, like I have many times. Just let him take over, you know, let him have the last 10, 15, 20 minutes to feel powerful and have a platform and have an audience to do and be everything he's not on his own, in his own area.
Well, how can I when you run your fat fucking piggy mouth all the live long day? And now you're taking over Jack's alleged broadcast.
That's not going to work today. I hope not. That's
and now, Jack, if you say, well, we have to remember the things when you can't remember the start of your show, do you remember when we agreed that we're sick of Paul backstaging us and saying for us? Do you know that I'm the Vince McMahon of this panelverse because I'm creating the place where men talk for themselves?
You're the Vince McMahon.
You don't have that
because you're a borderline pedophile with personality disorder, just like Vince McMahon.
Lean into it. Lean into it.
I just did.
No, elaborate on the pedophile thing.
Hey, you're certainly playing the WWE lifestyle.
No, I'm playing a Christian lifestyle, and I'm a soldier for Christ battling these spiritual warfares online.
You're LARPing.
Says every guy outside the Walmart.
No, says not every guy.
You're LARPing.
What would Jesus be without his miracles and without his standing up to the government and the state?
Would you like to know?
Back behind
Would you like to know?
Claiming to have a connection he can't display or live. You're
I
fascinating
do live
as a mentally, emotionally, spiritually ill person. You're a fascinating character to observe. I'll give you that.
Narrative. You can't handle the truth. That's why you, Flow State, and Jack all do this game where you decide when it's a serious conversation. If I show up for a serious conversation, you're going to do this circus because you're scared of the truth.
Tom, that's not accurate.
It is accurate, faggot.
Just because.
Hey, Flow State.
Hey, Tom.
Do you remember how much you and Paul tried to call me an active meth user, but you forget that I was watching when you left your camera on to spin a puddle one time?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, don't casually gloss over it, you fucking active meth user, because you project when you say that about me.
What a surprise. There's 4 current or ex-addicts on the panel right now.
I was never an addict. I was never an addict. Don't put me into that.
Sorry, forgive me. I forgot. It's just us 3. You were never an addict.
I never called you guys addicts.
But we're the narcissists. There it is.
No, you're rolling with your own bullshit.
Can't be accountable to. He's jumping all over the screen going, I was never an addict. Are you kidding?
Am I?
Your brain is completely burnt from regular usage of speed, and it's obvious looking and listening.
How do you know? How do you know that's not a lark?
Marks in your face are evidence of your once obvious addiction.
I don't have pot mark. I don't have that.
Delulu, as they say on the TikTok.
Jack, this is your boy. This is your daddy, Jack. You know what
why you can't be helped. You can't even own that you're a
fucking addict. You haven't shut your fat fucking mouth.
You're an addict now.
Pause.
Liar.
Please. Pause, please.
No, fuck you, Jack. You're all 3 fucking narcs.
Tom.
If not a higher tier of sociopath.
Tom.
Among the 3 most narcissistic, we've deemed you the most narcissistic.
No, because I don't call everybody. I know that Toilet Bowl Earth, CBO, Truth or Cop, they're not narcissists. You 3 are fucking of that sociopath shit.
Okay, you realize you think you're different somehow.
Not different than humanity, not different than my brothers in Christ, but definitely different than you 3 fucking
You're just the worst
antichrist faggots.
You literally are. You get the least numbers. You get the least money. You're the most grandiose and delusional. You claim to be the closest to God in the fairest panel.
No, I don't do any of those things. Might I retort? I never got into this for you.
Every slow slave panel vote.
Oh, wait.
He lost every slow slave panel vote.
This is why I had to make the fairest panel where men can speak for themselves, because it's nowhere else.
Tom,
might I retort?
Tom,
might I retort to what he said?
No, you're going to retard. That's the problem.
Right.
You're not going to retort.
Tom, you're just arguing. You're not trying to accomplish anything.
You're playing word games. I am trying to accomplish speaking for myself. Am I being able to do that?
Hey, why? Can we just calm down just for a moment? Resto, thank you for...
One of my favorite niggers is Resto Chesto.
Would you?
He understands why I say nigger.
How ironic! You're the biggest N-word here once again. Even in that, you take the cake.
Paul, tell me about my nigger bit. Tell me about my nigger faggot bit.
You live in an apartment complex that's known for
No, I don't. You said I'm homeless. This guy says I'm homeless. You say I'm homeless. I haven't been able to speak for myself since I came up on this bullshit show.
You had sheets over your windows and were eating applesauce off a hot plate. You're the definition of a white N-word.
Applesauce off a hot plate?
Here,
off a Home Depot bucket.
Paul, please. Okay.
You mean to be in front of the truck?
As long as we're continuing to insult, he's going to continue.
Are you muting me before I get to say my piece?
Tom, I'm trying to support you getting to say.
No, I don't need your support. I need to be able to speak for myself. That's why my channel is what it is. Because you three sociopaths play fucking games.
Tom?
And this dude has called me an active meth user because I edit videos well. And he spun a puddle on fucking live and deleted the video.
Okay, is that what you wanted to say?
No, it's not, faggot ass, cracker ass nigger.
You're spinning a puddle right now with all your menstruating.
No, might I say what I wanted to say?
Would you
go
please?
to therapy, Tom?
Will you shut your faggot daddy up?
How are you going to do therapy with 3 narcissists? It doesn't make any sense. We're untreatable.
What is this narrative that I'm going to do therapy? I'm fighting spiritual warfare.
You're fighting spiritual warfare on a YouTube panel? How does that work, Tom?
Yeah.
Is it in the room with us right now?
Paul,
well,
please.
I've explained this on my channel. The less physical interaction we have between each other multiplies the spiritual warfare. Like if Paul said I'm a pedophile on YouTube.
Tell you what do you need to say, Tom?
Oh, I'll say it on my channel and I'll say it about you and your daddy and you'll cry.
Why are you?
I have never been in this for YouTube numbers or YouTube money. Okay. And the explanation of why I've risen to donos and how I'm the Vinnie Mac of this thing is explained on my channel, and you show up there a lot like your daddy does and like Flow State does and like 2 fake Flow State accounts do. And you're losing, Jack. The fact that you and Paul will sit here and support each.
You can take a breath, Tom. Pause your rant. Okay?
Fuck you. See you tonight, Jack.
Holy cow.
He just once again proved that he's the biggest narc here because he feigns like he wants to talk truth, then just does a WWE scream fest, then just exits every time promoting his channel to try to just drag another 15 people over to not give him money so he can do spiritual warfare.
He's
we should all pray for him tonight.
I pray often. I do, that he and others find some clarity, find some peace within himself. This is the way the ego is. He's unsettled around us. And because he's unsettled for whatever reason, which is the reason is his damn opinions, since he can't overcome his opinions, his emotions take over. And then there's no communicating. It's like, holy cows, man, he needs a hug.
You first.
I would give Tom a hug. He'd probably swing at my face, though, man.
He's not going to do nothing. He's all bark and no bite.
I think you're right. That's humbling, though, to admit. After you've convinced yourself that you're this big, tough guy. And rah, rah, rah.
I'm not that. I wouldn't swing on any of you. I wouldn't try to get physical with any of you. I don't even care what you've said to me or done in the past. I have no reason to do violence or harm to anybody. It just demeans me, in my experience. I get loud because I care, and I get passionate for truth. I don't get loud because I believe I'm the biggest, baddest, toughest guy in the room. I'm probably not oftentimes. Smartest, maybe, Jack Talcott. You're obviously number 2 there. The toughest and biggest and baddest and all the rest. I don't need to be. I just need to be the most faithful.
What I encourage you to consider, I think we show love to ourselves. When we show more love to ourselves when we don't get angry, when we don't get loud, because admittedly that's been my sin. I yelled at people and I swore at people who didn't understand me. But I don't know. I know there's others that do a lot worse than that and they still get invited around. But this is what I mean, man. Our paths, I realize I'm talking kind of out there, but there's a reason our paths crossed. There's a reason the world is the way that it is. There's a reason we've learned what we've learned. What we do from here, that's the question.
I will give it to Tom, though. The 3 of us never get along better than when Tom is in the midst.
He does have that effect, uniting others.
Yeah.
Another reason I'm like a lot like him. It just hit me. You've never seen folks so united as when they love to hate me or talk about my presumed or adequate or accurate dysfunction. I guess the same thing applies to Thomas there.
We're similar in many ways. All of us are. Hey,
Resto's desperate to try to get your attention down there, Jack. I'm ready to leave anyway because I got to do my broadcast. I felt like you were kind of wrapping up anyway. Why not take a few bucks from him since he's always bragging about how rich he is? That's the only false power and value system he can lean on. So throw me out and then collect a 20 or a 50 from him.
yeah, he's shared too.
Yeah, I heard Resto Chesto's feelers on OTW's panel, so he's desperate to get back at me.
Oh, let me support my supporter. You'll understand, Paul. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate you stopping by too. Flo, thoughts from you? I am going to wrap up. That's where I'm heading.
Yeah, no. Care if I plug something?
Please do. Go ahead.
All right. Me and
that's right.
What's his name? Yeah, tonight there's a debate.
Jim Bob.
and Godless Engineer against Jim Bob and what's his name? John Patrick something. I should know it because he's the biggest channel of all of us. But anyways, it's whether or not you need religion to have morality, to ground morality. So that's tonight at 8:15 Central, I believe. I'm streaming it. It's hosted on Raging Tomato.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks for having me up.
Appreciate you joining. And I'm looking forward. I think that could be an interesting conversation.
I'm looking forward to it too. All right. See ya.
Peace. Thank you. Sincerely, brothers and sisters, thank you. Thank you for joining the exploration of the vertical format again today. And if I did happen to catch some new eyes, new ears, please do the subscribe thing. Give this channel a little bit more attention. The hope behind these conversations. Today, the topic, learn and grow. When we humble ourselves as men and women, we humble ourselves and realize, I've made mistakes in the past. Yeah, maybe I can do things better. Maybe there is a different way for me to respond. Unless we look at ourselves, what are we learning? All we're learning is where power is outside of us, but that's not a good, healthy way to live. The way we want to live that I found for myself, brothers and sisters, is recognizing the true power that love brings. Love is the answer for me. Love leads us to the truth. Love leads us to the answers to our wants. But it's up to each of us to use the power of the mind. The power of the mind to choose each day, to realize today, whatever the conditions, whatever the circumstances, I've got another chance to succeed. I've got another chance to grow. I've got another chance to become. And we don't know what we've become until the moments arise. I'm going to wrap it up there, but sincerely to all of you, thank you for joining. And, till next time, choose love, peace for everyone, and live without fear. God bless us all. And thank you to all who joined, tuned in. Peace.